My guest is Chris Marchese, mining analyst for the Morgan Report, which you can find online at silver-investor.com. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Great to be back, Jim.
We've got a number of topics we're going to talk about today. The Senate panel has approved Janet Yellen as the new boss of the U.S. Fed, and the markets responded rapidly. They're all in the green today, and you tell me, though, there's a bit of a conspiracy theory about what's happened to gold and silver prices. U.S. jobless claims fall at their fastest rates in September, but again, there might be a reason for that. That isn't the brightest light. China's manufacturing is down for the fourth month in a row, and the U.S. House is investigating Census Bureau faking of jobless numbers. That's pretty serious. Well, Chris, let's take a look at the markets and what's happened to gold and silver since the Senate panel approved Janet Yellen.
Well, when the FOMC minutes came out, saying that there would be tapering sooner rather than later, which is, what they've been saying since June. And we all know that it's going to happen a lot later than anyone expects, just like interest rate hikes when they were talking about in 2009 how they would start doing it by 2012, and now it's 2015, 16, and then now it looks like never. It's the same thing. But anyway, that gave an excuse for the big commercial traders to knock down the metals. Gold was knocked down on heavy volume, $25-30 in 5 seconds. And so the exchange had to shut down for a while. So, silver followed this, it did relatively the same thing. And, the correlation is just too perfect for that to
for everything to happen instantly.
Yeah, and this is not the first instance. I mean, there's
in June when we had the big drop in gold prices over the weekend.
Yeah.
A $200 drop, $250, something like that?
Yeah, and the same, it's unbelievable that the CFTC finished their investigation, I think it was a month ago, saying we couldn't find any proof of manipulation. So the market interpreted that as there is no manipulation. They just said they couldn't find proof.
Yeah, but what happened is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Why would everybody sell at exactly the same second?
I mean, I am not one to use that argument to say why prices are down, just because at some point the market will win out the physical side, and they will move higher. And with these levels in gold and silver, the Chinese are probably starting to buy like crazy on the Shanghai Gold Exchange.
Well, you said basically China has snapped up all the physical gold produced this year.
Yeah, and then some.
And then some.
And that's only what they're reporting.
Yes, as we know, the Chinese government has no secrets.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really the smartest thing to do. I wouldn't report anything if I were in charge of reporting for the Chinese. Well, I mean, what business is it of anyone's?
Well, what about the report China's manufacturing is down for the fourth month in a row? That can't be good for commodity traders.
No, but industrial production has been up. So the economy is still doing fairly well for China. So, I wouldn't read that much into it. It's obviously, I mean, the U.S. is in much worse economic shape, yet everyone's saying there's a huge bubble in China. And they have much better economic data that's coming out.
Well, U.S. jobless claims fell at their fastest rate since September, but you have a suspicion why.
Seasonal hiring for, the holiday season, usually November through part of January.
And then all those jobs disappear.
Yeah, and they're part-time anyway.
So you're not going to get rich doing that. Might pay a bill or two.
Yeah, so they need to seasonally, they seasonally adjust everything that shouldn't be, but they don't seasonally adjust everything that should be. Such as that.
The Christmas hiring rush.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's an investigation underway by the U.S. House that they're looking into allegations the Census Bureau has been faking jobless numbers. Tell us about that, Chris.
Yeah, you can we already kind of knew that. We've mentioned it on the show, that the unemployment rate was going down in the face of just horrific economic data that pointed to it going in the opposite direction, to a fair degree. And so, this doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Nothing from the government surprises me. I mean, everything is fudged. So, yeah, I hope...
they call it they don't call it fudging, they call it massaging the numbers.
Yeah, and I guess Texas Congressman Blake Barenthal said that this is extremely serious, and he chairs the House subcommittee that oversees the agency. So hopefully he'll be one of the politicians that actually has a backbone and dig into this.
Well, I've talked to experts on statistics, and they say when the government, makes up numbers or massages them without a happy ending, it usually ends up, is that it hurts the economy because businesses are making expansion plans, or should we lay off people? All those decisions are based on statistics supplied by the government. If the statistics aren't accurate, then, it really screws things up.
Yeah, it causes misallocation of capital, and along with the interest rates, those cause a manipulation of or malinvestment. So a lot of companies that are making investments are just going to be hurt because they were given the wrong data. The market wants higher interest rates, not these pathetically low interest rates. And as we've talked about, the cure to a recession is saving, not spending. And there's no incentive to save with these interest rates. I mean, you're losing money.
Yeah, you'd be better off to put it under your mattress.
Yeah. So what can you do but, just educate yourself, and, that's...
Well, I'm told governments right now here in North America are telling us inflation's running, under 2%. But that's not true, because in Canada and the U.S., they don't include housing prices and they don't include energy.
And food, or in the U.S., food.
Oh, well, in Canada, we have a typical food basket. But, dietary habits have changed over the years, and I don't think the food basket reflects a modern, healthy diet at all.
Yeah, and I'm sure the basket that, the way they use hedonics, geometric weighting, they do all these types of things to manipulate it downwards, in addition to leaving out the most important necessities.
Yeah. So if you take away housing and energy and food, what do you got left?
Yeah, exactly.
Try living without a house, or if you're out in the burbs, a car.
Yeah, they're probably, weighting electronics heavily, which is, one industry the government hasn't, intervened in to a material degree, and so
don't
prices
tell
have
anybody.
been going down of
tell
everything.
Anyone. Don't tell anyone. Shh. Well, Chris, always fascinating to find out what's really going on out there. Maybe someday we'll get honest numbers from the government, but a politician's number one job is getting reelected, and they know the public hates hearing the truth. They always blame the message bearer instead of the message.
Yeah, that's the problem with this big bureaucratic representative democracy. Everyone points the finger at someone else. No one ever takes responsibility for anything, and it makes me sick that these human beings are in government.
Well, yeah,
except for a few of the Tea Party members, which are few and far between.
Yeah, and most of those are of questionable intelligence too, because they believe in myths.
Yeah,
and when
the only one I've really personally that I've liked a lot was Ron Paul.
Yeah, the guy has economic knowledge that most people would be proud to have.
Yeah,
but again, he's giving you the truth. Here's the numbers as I see them. People don't want to see those numbers. They're scary. And in fact, I was less than impressed with one of the senior Republicans who said as they were approaching one of the latest fiscal cliffs, we'll let prayer solve it. Hope is not a business plan.
Well, I mean, you and I were saying that, it's just theatrics, and it was going to get done.
Yeah.
And they kick the can until late January, and they'll have something then.
Yeah, and the
Republicans are probably a lot more willing now that Obamacare is just an absolute mess.
They don't have to say a thing. Just it's the old, just let the guy run with the rope. Sooner or later, he'll hang himself, right?
Yeah, but I mean, in regard to the debt ceiling, I think the Republicans will be a lot more willing now that they see how inefficient the implementation and the Obamacare is in general. And,
it's unlike any other government-run insurance scheme in the world. I tried reading the legislation. It's 700 plus pages. No wonder they've had a hard time rolling it out. Nobody really understands what the hell they wrote. Even the guys who wrote the report.
It's like when unemployment insurance first came out. It was saved by its own ineptness. So. And
I just saw a recent report too about when we talk about government efficiency and saving money. Apparently, on performance, service demand, something like that, using the cloud would save the U.S. government $20 billion a year. Because right now, the earliest computers were all owned by the government. Well, some of these things built back in the 50s and 60s are still running government programs. Now, you can see when you try to do an upgrade on one of those, it's virtually impossible. Whereas if you go to cloud service on demand, well, all the research has been done to give you the most efficient system, and it's more secure.
Yeah, but that would go against everything the government stands for. They don't stand for efficiency. They stand for inefficiency.
Yeah.
They can't let that happen.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, to do a software upgrade on these old systems can take 3.5 years. Using modern techniques, latest technology, you'd probably have it up and running correctly in a couple of weeks.
And you got to train everyone.
Oh, yeah. Well, it has nothing to do with this. The space shuttle, for example, everybody's going, why are the computers from the 70s? Because it uses an iron core memory so that it's not affected by solar flares and radiation. That's why the technology is so old. Nobody ever works on that.
Yeah. That's
why one of the reasons they had to retire the space shuttle is their computers were just so old and clunky. They were dangerous. By the way, again, a little off topic, Apollo 13 had less computing power than the singing Christmas cards you're going to get. That puts our computer knowledge in the modern era, really shows you how good it is.
And a fortune was spent doing that, so that's just sad.
And Americans don't know a third of the scientists on the Apollo project were Canadian. Apollo 13's trajectory, where they used the moon's gravity to slingshot it back to Earth, was calculated by mathematic professors at the University of Toronto using slide rules.
Wow.
Yeah, again, that's not in the movie. It's just a fact. Anyway, Chris, again.
Before you
sign off,
we finished. Yeah, two things about the Fed has been saying, economic growth and world growth is growing at a moderate pace. Well, why did the ECB cut interest rates to a new low? I mean,
the European Central Bank, yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And then another thing came out that the average household debt per person in the UK is £54,000, and that's more than 2 times.
Yeah, multiply that by 1.61.
Yeah, and then that's more than a 2-fold increase versus 10 years ago. So not only are the governments racking up debt, but so are consumers. So this debt bubble, we're nearing a point where it's just going to burst, and the bond bubble will collapse.
Well, let's look out for bubbles. My guest has been Chris Marchese, mining analyst for the Morgan Report. You can send questions for him to chris@silver-investor.com. You're listening to HoweStreet.com radio. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. You can forward your comments to info@HoweStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard.
Silver123.net is a silver saver program designed to be as simple as possible. For as little as $50 per month, you can set up and create an automatic cost average buying program that will get silver or gold sent to your door on a monthly basis. The first step to creating an account is easy. You will supply some basic information. Next, you will add a bank account from which you will schedule your purchases. Scheduling purchases makes saving easy. Silver Saver is customizable and allows you to control the amount and the date of purchase. Once you are signed up, you are then given your affiliate code. Now you can save in precious metals and also market this program. You can use email, web pages, and multiple forms of social media to share the Silver Saver program. Silver Saver will reward you generously with physical silver or gold whenever someone you refer becomes a saver. Silver Saver not only provides you with a share code, but also allows you to place your own banner ad on a website of your own. Silver Saver is one of the best ways to start saving and accumulating gold or silver, especially at these levels. Visit silver123.net and start saving today.